All right then, boys. Thierry Henry, no doubt, deserves to be in this list. I'm always fascinated with the relationship that Thierry Henry has with fans in England in comparison to those in France. Jules, for those who maybe aren't aware of it, just explain it.
Yeah, I mean, the relationship that Thierry had with France is fascinating, not only because he won all those trophies, obviously the World Cup and the European Championship, but also because he had a sort of a loving, hating relationship with people in France. He certainly felt very early on that London and England were more his country than France in many ways, and I think it's not a surprise to see that he actually came back to live in London after his career, after he finished in MLS, for example. So this is fascinating. Then the play in itself, I don't think we need to talk too much about it. He was not just an incredible talent, but the personality, the determination, whether you liked it or not, but nothing was never good enough for Thierry. That's how he was brought up by his dad. He could score 5 goals, 6 goals as a 13-year-old, but it was never enough. The dad wanted 2, 3, 5, 4, 6 more goals. And I think as a professional, as a footballer, then Thierry kept that mindset. And I think that's what also separated him from the other great players. He was above that because of that kind of personality he had, as well as all the goals and all the talents.
Frank, how would you explain the relationship the French have with Thierry Henry compared to the English?
I think it's hard to say why French people don't really like Thierry Henry. He didn't play a lot in France. He played a little bit with Monaco and led very quickly to Italy, to Juventus, and then went to play for the Gunners and was very successful there. Of course, you have the game with national team against Ireland for the qualification of 2010 World Cup. When there was a controversy about what he did in the handball, and it didn't help to make sure that he was likable. There is a little bit of, for some people who think of that, a little bit of arrogance from Thierry Henry at some point, according to some journalists and some people in France. But like a little bit Eric Cantona. Eric Cantona is not really loved by the French population. They are more loved by the English than the French. They are two fantastic players, people that I know. They're very good people, but they are not very known by the population, and they are judged, maybe badly judged, but they are judged by the French people.
On that subject, Jules, you mentioned Cantona. Who's on a higher pedestal, Henry or Eric Cantona?
Well, that's a good one. I mean, you've got I think the Holy Trilogy is Michel Platini, Zinedine Zidane, and Raymond Kopa, and then below that you probably have Thierry first because of the success that he had overall, which especially with the national team was much better than Cantona ever had. You know, the winning the World Cup, winning the Euros in Frank's team, was always better than anything that Cantona ever achieved with the national team. He missed out on some competitions. He went to some, but didn't really play well there or shine or anything like that. So I think just for that, Thierry is probably a little bit ahead. But Cantona will always be the guy that French people always misunderstood, the one that never really found his way back home and then had to go away to find the success like he did with people that maybe loved him more and understood him more than the French would have ever done.
Who's the better player for you, Henry or Cantona?
Oh, that's two different generations, and I think in terms of, skill-wise, I'm more fond of Thierry Henry because of his pace, his stamina. Cantona was more an artist, and it's what he really did for Manchester United after his ban, and he came back and scored so many goals, and Manchester came back from far away against Newcastle, and they were winning 1-0 all the time. Cantona scoring otherwise all the time the only goals. So he really did something special for Manchester United, and it's why he became the king at Old Trafford. But in terms of football in his career, I think there is a lack of consistency in his performances during his career when Thierry was at the top for so many years that I have to pick him.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN+.